everyone, welcome to Cat Stitch. I'm Cat, Cat Stitch on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Saturday the 11th of February already, and this is Flosstube, I think, number 29. I think. For those that are new to my channel, welcome on board. It is pretty much about cross stitch, although I go off tangent on occasion, as I have constantly been told. Sorry about the lighting. It's a weird time of the morning, and actually I'm just going to pause you for a moment. Hang on a second. Okay, how's that? Is it a little bit brighter? I think it's a bit brighter. It's mid-morning here on Saturday morning. You might be able to hear the crickets. I don't know if you can, but it's a beautiful warm morning. We've got a little bit of cloud, but it's still going to be a hot day, and I don't like hot days. I melt. So for those that are coming for the first time, welcome on board. If you like what you see, please make sure you subscribe, like, do all the things. You know how it goes. And for those that have come back to watch again, welcome on back. Thank you very much for stopping by. I do really appreciate it. I wasn't sure if I was going to film today because I really haven't done a lot. I've been working a lot of extra hours, and that is because of the floods up in Auckland, which has done a lot of damage, and they're bracing themselves for a cyclone coming through this weekend. So I'm on call again. So I haven't really had a lot of focus to stitch and that sort of stuff. But I have managed to get a few things done. I was hoping to have a whole bunch of fully finished items to show you, at least, because I didn't have a lot of stitching. And I got a lot of stuff sewn together, but I still have to stuff them and then close them and do any trimmings and stuff. So they're not done yet. I have got a few. So yeah, so I don't know how long this is going to be. So for those that are watching up in Auckland, I hope you guys are safe and well. Make sure that you guys are taking the precautions. Listen to the weather reports. And, you know, if you can, just post on Facebook, you know how they've got the yes, I'm okay, I'm safe, and that sort of stuff. Please make sure you do that to let family and friends know that you're okay. And make note, put them in your phone, of the contact numbers for the Civil Defence, and just in case you need any extra help. Okay. And for those around the rest of the world and the rest of the country that are going through hard times, whether it's because of Mother Nature, your health, family health, or anything like that, please know that you're in my thoughts. And you know, I hope that things sort of improve or reach a positive outcome. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to get into this because I don't know how long I've got, because I might get called in. So, and I'm using my phone to record on, so, you know, here's hoping. So like I said, I haven't done a lot in the last week, the last couple of weeks, other than work. And so I haven't really had a lot of focus for long to be able to stitch and that sort of thing. But I have managed a few starts, finishes, and a little bit on some whips. Okay, just saying, only one of the whips that I mentioned in the last Flosstube that I was going to work on this week, only one got any work on. Well, actually two. One I finished. I just wasn't able to focus on them. So I'd pick them up and put them on the Q snip, and I'd look at it and yeah, nah, no. And so I have been doing a bunch of little smalls, things that have called to me. I wasn't planning on doing any February ones, you know, Valentine ones, but I'm sort of on a kick, and I've got a few designs. There's a few freebie ones and things like that I downloaded, and I've just been stitching away quite merrily on them, and I've still got a few more to do. So I think February is going to be all about love and creating that. So let's see what I've been up to. Right, so the first one that I'll show you is a whip. So I'll do the whips first. This was a freebie design from finally a farm girl who now has her own website. Yay! So I'll put the link down below if I remember. If I don't have any links down below, it's only because I've been called into work and I just haven't had time to come back and do it. But if you've got any questions, please let me know, and I'll be sure to answer them, and I'll try and get that updated as soon as I can. Okay. So this, it was a free chart, so there's no cover picture for it, sorry. But it was when you sign up for the newsletter, and it's Matilda at the beach. So that's all I can tell you. You won't see much of the design, but here we go. So I'm stitching it on 22 count Bologna that I jar dyed. It was the greeny coloured one, and I put the denim blue Rit dye on it. And I'm doing it 10 stitch over 1. So 2 strands over 1 10 stitch. And, you know, picking my own colours because that's what I do. So there's that one. Another one is from ShellsArtyFarty. Is ShellsArtyFartyShop? Arty Stitchery. I'll put it down below. Sorry, brain's a bit fuzz. And it's the Valentine gnome sale. It's a free one on her Facebook page. And I came sort of late to the party. I only just started doing it the other day. So I've just started on a gnome and the border. Now the reason that strand is there is because I was counting, you know, sort of thing. But then I started doubting my counting ability. So I thought, right, well, I know there's probably going to be a little bit more to go around that way. But you know what? I'm going to stop there just in case I've miscounted and then it's going to go too far. So I'll finish the frame when I know where the last gnome is. There's 4 gnomes in the design. I think there's 4 gnomes. Might only be 3 because one's going to go there, one there. I don't know. But I'm stitching it on. Now, when I last did some jar dyeing, I got a piece of opal 14 count and I jar dyed it with blood orange tea. And then I had a slight accident in regards to drips from the other dyes that I was using going onto it. And it also went really, really pale. It was, you know, once it dried, it was really, really pale. It was more of a greyish pink. And I liked it, but I just sort of thought that wasn't quite what I was hoping for. So I jar dyed it again with the blood orange, but I left it in a lot longer. I left it in about 20 minutes instead of the 7 that I originally did. And it gave this beautiful pinky colour. There is still patches of it that are like a greyish, sort of brownish sort of colour, which is fine. But I thought I want to use this fabric to do my Valentine ones on. So this is my gnome. Valentine gnome. I'm choosing my own colours for it. And then the other one that I started, that I only just started, because I have finished some, but they were earlier in the week. It's called, I think it's Love Greatly by Stoney Creek. I got it out of a magazine, so I'll see if I can grab the cover picture for it. But there's, yeah, so it says Love Greatly and there's a lovely trellis sort of thing. And the reason I decided to do that one is because it was something that I could actually leave up all year round. It didn't have to be a Valentine one. I just sort of thought that would work quite nicely. So there's that. Out of all the ones that I pulled out last week, this was the only one I pulled out and actually did any work on. It was Alice and the Mad Hatter by Flossbox. And it's stitched on a piece of 14 count fabric. This is the one that my friend Chris wrapped my my present up in, and it was a big piece. It is from Lakeside Needlecraft, and it's just called Opal, I think. Yeah. So this is where I'm up. Oh, sorry. This is where I was, and this is where I'm up to now. So what I added, I just go like this. Here we go. Excuse the fluff. I just added onto the mushrooms down the bottom. This frond here I got filled in and added, and I added in a few more of the flowers. So basically I did 138 stitches. Yes, I'm counting still. 138 stitches in 8 colours. So it was hard for me to focus on because, you know, I wanted something that was a little bit less taxing on the mind than constantly having to change colours and only do a few stitches. So, but I'm going to keep her out, and I am going to keep working, you know, plugging away at her and hoping that maybe I'll get her finished by the end of the month. You know, I've got another 2 weeks. So, and then I can work on my other Alice and my Grims and that sort of stuff. I'm not going to pull them back out again this month. I'm just going to focus on trying to get her finished, because I worked out, I started the year with 21 whips. If I can finish 2 of those each month, then I'll have all 21 of them finished by the end of the year. Now, last month I did finish 2 of them. I have finished another one. So if I can finish her, that'll be 2 for this month. So that'll be good. And then the last one that I started not finished, so it's still a whip, is Beth from the Steadfast Stitcher and I are doing a start along, stitch along, whatever you want to call it, for Teresa Kogut's This Small Sampler. Now, Beth got hers out of, is it Let Love Rain book? Is that one of Teresa's books? I just can't remember which one it was. Whereas I got mine as a Patreon. So it is in the Patreon store. So if you are a Patreon, you'll be able to go in and get it. And if you're not a Patreon, that's fine too. Have a look for the magazine if possible, the book. But I started, so we started it on Sunday, just gone, and which was what, the 5th of February. And I was only going to do just a little start, just so I could say I've started it, because I was hooked on another one that I'd started on the Friday. But I got hooked on this. I was like, oh, you know, I've only got a little bit left on the other one to finish, but I just don't want to put this one down. So I didn't. I just carried on working on it all day Sunday. And this is where I'm up to. Let me just, here's my board. There we go. So this is where I'm up to. So I've nearly finished the house. So that's my plan today, is to finish off the whole, you know, all the house, do the back stitching, fill in the heart up the top there, and then start to carry on over here. Oh, and also there's some berries or something, but because they're little ninja stitches, I may make them beads, because I think they're supposed to be like a holly. From what I can see in the picture, if you have a close look at the picture, it does look like it's like holly or something. So it's something a little different. I might make them beads. I know that's not usual for a sampler to add beads in, but you know, the reason I love this sampler is the house, the animals, and the fact there's no alphabet. I love it. So I am hooked on that. So that is going to get picked up again, if nothing else, to finish the house and move the frame over. So that's that. So those are the whips. The finishes, so I'll do them in order if I can. So this week, I only had one finish last week, but that's been fully finished. So I'll show you that after these finishes. So on Monday, the one that I had started on Thursday night, Friday, was Bloomin' Tiny Town by Heart in Hand, yeah. And I pretty much picked my own colours. The reason I haven't added it into my fully finishing pile is only because I've still got, you know, enough fabric on here that I want to do at least the Christmas Tiny Town on the same piece of fabric, if not also the Halloween one, which I may be able to fit all 3 on. I'm still waiting for my Valentine one to arrive, but I want to do that on a slightly more pinkish one rather than the grey. So this is on 18 Count Prehistoric by Fox and Rabbit. Is it 18 count? Yeah. And here's my bloomin' tiny town. There it is. It's hard to... Bobby! Sorry. Blame him. So, oh, the lighting is really atrocious today. Bobby! Cut it out. Sorry. He reacted to some of his food that he had. And so he's got a bit of an itch going on. There we go. I got to admit, I love the prehistoric. It is a gorgeous fabric. So yeah, so I've got, but I mean, see, the thing is, it's big enough that I can easily fit Halloween and Christmas tiny towns on this. I've got the Valentine one on its way. It's a big hearted, I think it's called. The only one I'm not doing is the patriotic one. No offense, it's a beautiful little one. I mean, I might still get it and just change it slightly just so it's another street sort of thing. But maybe make it a combination of New Zealand and Canada. Who knows? For that. So that was on Monday that I finished that one. On Tuesday, Cherry Hill Designs on their Facebook page. If you join up with it, you've got access to the Happy Valentine's Day sale, which is a free design. You would have seen it a lot on Facebook, not on Facebook, well, on Instagram and things like that. So many incredible finishes. I haven't finished it yet because it's on the same piece of fabric as my gnomes and the other ones, because I want to basically do a bunch of designs on there, and then I'll cut up the fabric. So again, it's on the 14 count opal that I tea dyed with blood orange, and here's my version of Happy Valentine's Day. And then, so that was on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday night, I just wanted something simple. It was a long day on Wednesday. So, hands-on design, I got two of their little ones to work on. So, one is, oops, Love You Too. Now, I didn't do the shadowing on the words because I decided I didn't want it. And I changed the colours as usual. So I did that. And then this one I'm gonna try and turn into a heart. Love Was Kind. So again, I don't think I only need to keep them up at Valentine's. I think these two I can have all year round. Just sitting up. So those two were on Wednesday night. Thursday night, I added some stitches to the small sampler. That's what I did on Thursday night. I started filling in the house on Thursday night. And then yesterday I was figuring out my sewing machine and having a bit of a play with that, matching fabrics to go with the different finishes I was going to do. I tried stitching on something, but I just couldn't focus. I did start the Valentine gnomes. I started them on Thursday night as well, and then last night or yesterday I started the Love Greatly, but nothing was really holding my attention. So I thought, well, let's give finishing a go and see how we go. So part of the reason I was wanting to do some finishing, and I was hoping to have more of them done in time for today because I didn't have a lot of stitching to show, is that I want to do a sort of a sal. Sorry. Called Your Own Drum Sal. So hashtag Your Own Drum. yourowndrumsal. And if you watch the end of my episodes, you'll see that I always end with marching to the beat of your own drum. And so thank you, Nick, for suggesting that particular hashtag. I think that worked really well. I checked it, it's available, so that's going to be what it is, yourowndrumsal. Now, the idea behind it is to encourage you to fully finish. And it's also fully finishing items that maybe wouldn't be finished in that way, that weren't designed to be that way. I'm talking the longer designs, you know, which are quite often hard to find a frame for, and things like that. The designs are beautiful, but sometimes you sort of wonder what the designer is thinking, because it's an odd size and it doesn't fit any sort of standard long frame or anything like that, which makes it really hard for people to do anything with them. And I've got a few like that. So I've decided they're all going to get turned into drums. And even some of the designs that I had decided, no, I'm not going to do because it's going to be too big. I've actually picked out how I can still stitch them, but to make drums. So there'll be little individual ones and stuff like that, but I can still stitch those designs because I really want to stitch them. So I thought, let's encourage everybody to finish their items, whether it's as a drum, a pillow, a stand-up, a flat finish, a wall hanging, whatever. Get them out of the bags. Get them out of the boxes under the bed. Get them out of the boxes in the cupboard. Don't fear finishing. Until last year, apart from 2 little ornaments for Christmas, Christmas gift exchanges, I'd never fully finished anything in 20 years. Never. So you can imagine how big my boxes were of things that I hadn't done. And then last year I had a heck of a lot of finishes. And again, so I needed to do something with them. And if you'd seen my extra, which is what's in the bag of finishes that I don't know what I'm going to do with, it gave me a bit of a wake up in regards to the reality of the craft that I love for me. And that is that, I mean, my daughter does like some of the things, and I've given her those and that sort of stuff, and I've given some to my mum, I've given some to my friends, but I am a prolific stitcher. I do a lot of stitching, and there's only so much they're wanting to have, and so now going forward, I don't want to put any more things in that bag. At least not something that I'm not going to just temporarily put in there until I have my next finishing round, fully finishing round. And as that's the case, I know the size max of what I can do something with myself. I can't afford to have people finish for me and things like that. That's not on my budget. So, as scary as it was when I did my first ones last year, when I started doing this, seeing them on display for the first time in my stitchy life of the last 20 years, there is something so, I think, profound, because if you think about it, we spend hours and hours and hours stitching. It makes us feel good. It helps calm us. It helps center us. It just takes us away from everything, and that sort of thing. And to not see them up on the wall or on your shelves, and instead putting them in a bag, it's sad. And we often hear about people, who go to op shops and they see them in there and that sort of thing. And I know, and I don't have a problem with it. I know that when I'm gone, the majority of anything that I've stitched is going to end up in op shops or the dump. I know that. Such is life. I would hope most of it would end up in the op shops rather than the dump. But, whatever my daughter wants to do or whoever's around. And so I'm sort of like, you know what? I'm just going to put them out for me and I'm going to enjoy them. I come into my craft room and I see my shelves, and here's a picture of what I see when I come in, and I feel happiness. So I get a double joy, and you will too. No, they're not perfect. Yes, there's mistakes on every single one of them. None of them have a straight line, not a single one. I'm not good with straight lines. I'm still learning how to use the sewing machine, and I'm still making mistakes, and I'm fudging it, and you know, and you know, the hot glue gun is sort of my friend, apart from the fact it keeps burning off my fingertips. But you know, they're finishes, and I get to enjoy them. They're not in a bag, in a box, in a bed, under the bed, in a cupboard. They're there for me to see. They're reminders of how much joy this hobby brings me, and that sort of thing. And the interesting thing is, when my friends have come round, I've ended up losing a few of them because they're like, "Oh, can I have this?" It's like, really? No, there's this wrong with it. They don't see the imperfections, and again, it just brings another layer of joy that somebody likes something that I've stitched enough and finished in a not perfect way that they're wanting to hang it up or put it up in their house, and they're wanting to display it. I know that there's been a lot of things that I've seen and read on different Facebook things about how much do you charge for. It's like, I don't charge anything. You know, if they want to do anything, they can buy me another kit. They can buy me a piece of fabric, something that I can still keep creating with. But they don't need to pay for my time. I don't do it to get paid for my time. I do it because it brings me bliss. You know, and if they like what I stitch, I mean, I don't know if I would think of charging if it's like a commission piece or anything like that. I don't think I would, because it's something that's able to fill my time. If they're wanting it in a deadline, yeah, I might pay, I might charge, but otherwise, no. Just get me the materials, give me the activity, and I'm happy. And if I do a good enough job and you like it enough that you want to hang it in your house or put it on your shelves, that's my payment. So that's why I stitch. That's why now I'm finishing. And I want to encourage you all to finish, to pull it out. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to send it away. It doesn't need to cost a lot of money. I can't afford things like the chenille and velvet and all that sort of stuff. I get op shop stuff. I'm using wool. This is faux fur wool. And so is this. This is a wool. You don't have to use, I mean, don't get me wrong, they look gorgeous with the chenille, and they look gorgeous with, you know, the pom-poms and stuff like that. I get some pom-poms from AliExpress because they're affordable. You know, my fabrics, I get off-cut pieces and things like that for the back. And it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. My most expensive thing is the stuffing, admittedly. That costs me a lot to do the amount of pillows and stand-ups and that sort of stuff that I want to do. But I want to encourage you, and I know that 2 tall stitches, there's also a challenge going on there as well. It's hashtag FFO Challenge 2023, and again, there to encourage you to get them out of those boxes and give it a go. Doesn't have to be perfect. There are some incredibly good tutorials on there. Of course, Vonna Pfeiffer is always going to be the first one that people mention. Helen D is another one. And if you look at the Perfect Stitcher, her Flosstube channel, she's also got some tutorials on there as well. And she's a huge promoter of it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be finished. You know? So get that joy. So speaking of that, I've got 3 to show you. One of them, I say it's fully finished, but I might add something too. 2 of them are from Finding a Farmgirl. Jeremiah has been finished at last. Here he is. That was a good catch. Now Jeremiah, I stitched him on 14 count Aida, and I used sulky threads for the whole thing. So it's all sulky. I was dithering about whether I was going to finish him as a pillow, a stand-up, a flat finish. I went with a pillow, and I didn't draw any curves when I'm using the sewing machine. I freehanded it on the sewing machine. Now, if I can do that, honestly, you can do it. Now, you see what I mean? It's not perfect. My sides aren't straight. Don't care. I am contemplating. I keep on thinking I've got like an ivy sort of thing, which I'm thinking of putting around the side. That's why I said I'm not sure if he's fully finished or not. And then I've got that lovely fabric on the back. So there is Jeremiah, all done. Yay! He's hopping. All right. So for now, he can sit up there until I decide what I'm going to do. Now, you would have seen, I don't know if you have seen me on Instagram, if you follow it or not, but I had a picture. Here we go. That's what I posted on Instagram. The mystery that is, what is this tiny? What is this tiny one? See, I'm losing my voice. It's going to be fun on the phones. It is. Oh, sorry, I'm shaking. Okay, there we go. We'll do it that way. Miss Matilda. Matilda Mouse from Finding a Farmgirl. My smallest ever stitch. It is stitch. She stitched on 25 count Lagana, 1/1. It's the first time I'd ever done anything like that. It was the first time I'd used Lagana, or anything that high in count. And I love her. As you can see, she is tiny. She's itty bitty. And I just have that fabric on the back. Again, I wasn't sure if I'd put like a little bit of a trim around the bottom. I might. Whether it might be just some twine or something, or I think I've got something like that. Just for something around the bottom, a neutral or something like that, just to hide my stitching. But I love her. She is so cute. And now that I've got her like this, because I haven't done the Scarecrow Matilda or the Matilda Sews yet, I'm thinking they're going to end up the same, on the 25 count 1/1. Because I love her so much, I would like a little series of her. So my little Matildas are going to be done like this, my single Matildas. And then the other fully finished that I did is framed. Now this one I actually finished last week. I finished stitching last week. It's My Big Toe, I'm a Stitcher. And this is where I was last time. Hopefully I've got a picture. If I do, I'll insert it here. And I focus stitched on it most of last week after work. When I could focus on any stitching. So this was the only piece that I picked up until I finished it. And yes, it's in a frame. I know, shocking, isn't it? So hopefully you guys can see that. And I'm trying to sort of reduce the reflection if I can. So there we go. I got the frame from the warehouse in New Zealand. It did have like a thingy inside it, which would make it an 8x10, but I needed an 11x14, which is what this frame is. It's not perfect. It's not perfectly mounted or anything like that, but you know what? It looks good, and I'm happy with it. And my honey's going to help me hang it up on the wall when he's next over. So there it is. I'm a stitcher. Because I have got a gap that's just wide enough next to the door that it'll fit. So I'll still have my room for my angel of cross stitching and my Bellatrix on the larger spaces. So there we go. I think that's everything. So I said it wouldn't be too long. A little bit longer than I expected it to be, but there you go. So I can't really think of anything else that I need to pass on. I have watched a lot of Flosstube. I'd love to say they all stand out. They do, and I've enjoyed all of them. I just, you know, there's just, I've got like 49 left. No, I had 49 on my watch list. I think I've still got about another 23, 24 to go. I mean, I've caught up with most. Obviously, with 23 to go, I haven't seen the latest of anybody yet. That's on my regular watching, but you know, they will be wonderful, and you'll see them on, if you have a look to see who I subscribe to. If they've had a recent one, they're on my list, and I've been watching them. So if you're looking for, you know, any floss tubers to watch, go and check them out. All of them offer something incredible, whether it's a giggle or just inspiration or anything like that. You know, I have caught up on a lot of the New Zealand ones. I do tend to watch them first. So, you know, there's like Chasing Alex, Creatively, Neat and Not by the Sea, an Aussie in a Kiwi World, and Nicole, North Island Stitcher. Oh my god, brain. Okay, yeah, see, everything's getting a bit fuzzy. And I did just receive a ding, so I better get going. I don't know how much editing is going to get done because I've got to sort of sign in and start doing some work and getting organised for that. And I also don't know what information is going to be down below initially, but I will get this out as soon as I can, and then get back to you guys in 2 weeks. So wherever you are, if you're warm, please keep cool. Make sure you drink lots of water. Don't dehydrate. If you're cool, then please bundle up warm. Get the old hot soup on, lemon, honey and ginger. Fight those bugs. And wherever you are, just keep safe, keep well, and march to the beat of your own drum, because that's where the magic happens. Toodles.